No matter what's going on in your life or reality right now, you have the ability to know what happens in the future, but not through the avenue that you might think or expect. You see, you, whenever you connect to this message, are remembering how to navigate your reality with precision. Now, I want to give a few disclaimers. This isn't about controlling your reality. It's not about forcing an outcome, but it is about knowing that you are on your most aligned life path, that you are giving yourself full permission and consent to live as your truest self, no matter what's going on. The kind of clarity that brings forward inner inspiration that can act on anything that emerges. And if that resonates with you, then I invite you to listen to the depth of this message so that you can apply the keys presented within into your life now and whenever you feel called to. I'm Danielle Lynn. I am a transformation specialist who connects with people such as yourself across time and space at particularly auspicious moments, especially crossroads. Now, I imagine you find yourself at yet another crossroads point. They seem to come, don't they? And yet, whenever you find this message, you have plenty of time in which to make your most discerning choice. But here's the thing. What I'm about to share with you isn't about waiting or delaying or trying to find all the answers before you move forward. This is about how to connect with yourself right now so that no matter what choice point you are at, you get to move forward with clarity, one way or another. Whenever this reaches you, please understand and remember, you are recalibrating your system, not just your nervous system, but your system of operating in this world and in this time. We are in a time of flux where there are many probabilities. Imagine a hub, like an airport, where there's many planes taking off and landing. And what you have the opportunity to do is to align yourself with clarity on which plane you would like to take off with. And this isn't, once again, about making a right or wrong choice. You are already choosing moment to moment by how you focus your energy, how you are moving in this world consistently. One thing that is being highlighted at this time is how you interface with others or don't. There may be a simultaneous call to walk alone and work alone, but there also may be a call to community. I invite you to be aware of the dichotomy of this tension, of this particular tension, because it's not necessarily saying that you must be around people all the time, but it's also not necessarily saying be alone all the time. It may be that you have unique ebb and flow cycles with times of deep solitude and then times of intentional connection. Being discerning with yourself first allows you to be an excellent selector of community, of individuals, of partners, anyone that you're choosing to interface with. You are not required to barter your peace or well-being for connection. I'll say that again another way. You don't have to be a beggar of connection. And you do indeed get to connect with resonant community. And this may be chosen community, chosen family. This may be something you live and construct. But I invite you to shift from a conceptual view of how community must look and invite yourself to just say, well, what's one step? So the first key here that I'm going to invite you to consider is that any attempts to manipulate one's reality puts a lot of responsibility on you. You don't actually need to create or manifest certain levels of your reality. You can remember that all layers of reality that you would like to experience already exist. It would be more accurate to say that you resonate in a certain way, and based on how you are resonating, you find yourself experiencing one of many possible experiences in reality. As you tend to your focus and how you are resonating, you actually augment the probabilities that you find yourself connecting with. It would be like changing a sliding scale of, let's say, color, and the colors you are able to perceive at any given point. The entire spectrum exists at once, but maybe you're allowing yourself to view this much, this much, this much, this much. And so when this video is showing up, it's reminding you of something in relation to whatever you were considering and choosing in this moment, which is if you don't have the answer right now, then part of the step might be to take a deep breath and expand the field of view of not only where you're looking, but how you are looking. It may be that you are too close to the situation to see it fully for what it is, or you may be working within a limited scope in which there is no answer because the answer you're looking for is actually in this perception field. A way that I could describe or explain this: if you are looking for, let's say, stability in your working relationship and you have a certain job or experience, you're like, well, how can I make it work with this job? But maybe the place that it works and resonates is stepping beyond this particular job. Let's change the story a bit. Maybe what you want to experience is deep satisfaction, so you're actually looking everywhere else but your job, but maybe it's inviting you to recenter your focus on the job where you're at and look at it with a different view in which a new pathway opens up. Maybe a new position is created, a new person comes in, a direction is forged. There's something different that happens even though it seems to be in the same space. Something that people sometimes don't realize is it's not about changing the external pieces in order to experience the internal thing you want. It is a symptom. The external shifting is a symptom of the way you are resonating, experiencing, and focusing. But here's a little caveat. There is more nuance to your experience than simply the ego level, what I think I want, what I think I need. There is more depth to it than that. And also remember, you are co-creating in this reality with other creators and with your, we'll call it your higher self. So all these things considered, this doesn't mean that you must run an infinite number of calculations to figure out how to make the choices. However, right now, you're being invited to take in a very deep, full breath, to orient yourself in your body, to feel your heart, feel your gut, feel the bottoms of your feet. This is me mimicking bottoms of feet. Feel your hands, feel the top of your head, your face, shoulders. Feeling nice and good in the body, take a nice full breath. And then invite yourself with curiosity. What is it that would benefit me to focus on in my reality right now? What would benefit me to focus on in my reality right now? And allow yourself to linger with this question, to not rush to resolve the tension for an answer, but rather to pay attention to the field that you are sitting in, allowing yourself to feel the tension will allow you to also discern what is emerging as answer or resolution, not only from the area of your mind, who sometimes rushes to immediately disperse the tension, but from the inner core of your being that is actually considering and feeling out, feeling into the possibilities and probabilities. And as you are doing this, taking deep breaths in and being present and not requiring an answer to come immediately, you're simultaneously inviting yourself to be present with what answer does want to emerge. And the less that you have expectations about the answer, the more curious you are, the more willing you are to simply be in the space, in the process, the wider range of possible choices that actually feels actionable within your reality comes forward. If you can allow yourself the full range of experiences, you're going to feel less likely to attempt to control or hold them back, so that instead you allow yourself to move dynamically with life. A lot of life and opportunities in general are about our willingness to just move dynamically. Noted, not perfectly, but dynamically. into and through the field of life. And so as you allow yourself these dynamic movements in community, in business, and in career and relationships, in your personal spiritual explorations, and just being human, then you may find yourself less tripped up on times of completion, times of renewal, times of flatness, times of joy. And instead, you're just engaged with life. And this is the point where so many people are trying to find. It's we recently had watched Soul. We as a community recently watched Soul, the movie from Pixar. And one of the things, spoiler alert, if you want to continue, one of the things the main character says after he's finally arrived at a point where he's living his vision, like he wanted to be a jazz musician. He's like, here it is, I finally arrived. And then it was amazing. He had such a fun time. And then it was done. And he's standing there after the show and he turns to the lead singer and he's like, well, what now? And she's like, well, we do it again tomorrow. And he's like, well, yeah, but is this it? And then she says to him, you know, there's a story where one fish says to the other, I'm looking for the ocean. Have you seen it? And the bigger fish says, well, that's what you're swimming in. And the fish goes, well, this isn't the ocean. This is this is just water. I want to see the ocean. So many of us are missing that we are in the ocean as we experience the water. But I like to imagine that more of us are remembering just how interconnected we are, and that from a certain perspective, we're already here. This right here represents one of the great tools that you can access in your life right now to sort through decision choices. It is a new relationship with tension and attention. And you have the capacity to embody this. Now, if you feel a lot of tension and this feels like a lot for your body system, you may be inviting yourself to ground into an updated rhythm with your nervous system. Now, very shortly in the community that I facilitate, the Self Alchemy Lab, we are going to be stepping into nervous system recalibration. And this is coming from the understanding that we're not just recalibrating to, we're going to call it the old pattern or the old matrix. This is about recalibrating into the core self, translating that into the body, and then being able to naturally step into our capacity to ride the waves of fluctuation, to hold space with the tension. And I'm imagining, if you're watching this, some form of nervous system care is being highlighted for you at this time. So I invite you to check with that inward and see what that means for you. Now, additionally, this is a time and opportunity to really develop trust within yourself. I have shared numerous videos about cultivating trust within yourself, but I'll simply mention and remind you that as you keep commitments with yourself, as you keep your word with yourself, you establish the full flow of trust within. And as you do that and establish that field of trust, then you can expand that into how you interface in this reality. You actually start having a magnetism that others can feel of you being someone that they're drawn to, someone that can be trusted because you embody that within yourself. Lastly, I invite you to remember, ultimately, we are co-creating our future. We are co-creating the version of reality that we all want to individually and collectively experience together. I invite you to be deliberate about where you place your focus. I invite you to be deliberate with your sovereignty. I invite you to remember that no matter what goes on externally, you have a direct, well-sourced connection to the source within you that is untouchable and unshakable. As you connect to that and ground it into your reality in practical ways, there are endless possibilities. My friend, I appreciate our time together. I appreciate connecting and co-creating with you. I invite you to check out the Self Alchemy Lab, or check out the Flow book, which comes with my newsletter, in which there will be announcements in the case that any experiences beyond the lab are announced. And I also simply say to you, I continue to be deeply appreciative of our time and space together. It's always such a joy to connect, and I'm looking forward to our next connection.